Do you regret that you were not able to bring Eddie Gilbert in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling until the beginning of 1995? Or was it simply it was unable to be done because of other logistical issues, like Eddie having the book in Puerto Rico? Thank you, O fearless leader of our humble cult.
Well, I don't necessarily regret that I wasn't able to bring him in sooner, because when I did bring him in, he only stayed one TV taping and then bailed on me. So that could have maybe happened. No, it wasn't the right time beforehand. Either he was working on top and booking in Memphis, or he had been down in Puerto Rico or whatever. The reason why I brought him in when I did was because somebody had just in passing mentioned to me that Eddie was not currently wrestling anywhere at that point and was at home in Lexington, Tennessee, which was the other side of the state from Knoxville. And I said, my God, if Eddie Gilbert is that close and he's not wrestling anywhere, let me see if I can call him and get him to come over here and make the Smoky Mountain shows, because Eddie was a great talent as a wrestler and as a booker. And I even mentioned to him, I said, if you have your own ideas, I want to draw some houses around here. I'm not fucking greedy with who gets the credit for the booking. So, please. And I said that I had the kid from Puerto Rico, Glenn Jacobs, that Dutch Mantell had recommended, that I was going to make Unabomb, a big unknown, huge giant, a guy with a great body that Dutch had really put over to me and wanted to come back home because he had been in Puerto Rico too long, as happens. And so I said, you'd be perfect as the little small mouthpiece, player coach. You're his tag team partner. You're also his manager. You're the little guy that instigates the fight, and he's the big guy that cleans up. I said, if you can do something with that team, that'd be great. And he was all into it and came and did the first TV taping, 4 weeks of TV leading up to the big debut of the team at a live event in Knoxville. And then, as we've told the story before, I never heard from him again. And I found out a couple weeks later he was booking in Puerto Rico. So on the sperm of the moment, I got Al Snow, who I had been looking at and who all the guys that had worked with him had raved about. I asked Al Snow, hey, you want to come in and be the small little wise ass for this big guy's partner? Yes. Okay, done. It wasn't long after Eddie passed away, and I was miffed, obviously, at first. I couldn't figure out what had happened because he was all into it and had, if he'd have called me and said, hey, Jim, they're going to give me the book in Puerto Rico versus making 12 shots a month or 15 shots a month or whatever for you, so I feel like I got to do that. I would have to think that the money was going to be similar, to be quite honest with you, from what I've heard of people were making in Puerto Rico in those days versus 3 days a week over in East Tennessee. He would have come out ahead financially, probably staying with me instead of going all the way to Puerto Rico. But Eddie always wanted to book, and I can't fault him for that. He loved being the booker. So I just wish he'd have told me. That's the only difference. And I wouldn't have hated him forever and said, oh, goddamn, I'll never speak to you again. But I never got the chance to speak to him again, unfortunately.